You've heard it a million times, right? Let your money work for you. Sounds great, almost poetic. But here's the thing. What if that advice is kinda, well, a lie? What if your money just sits there, flat out refusing to work, unless you hand it a massive paycheck first? That's what we're digging into today. We're gonna pull back the curtain on this huge myth in finance.
So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll tackle the compounding illusion. Then, we'll get into the real physics of how money actually grows. After that, we'll look at how the wealthy play this game completely differently. We'll cover the 3 capital engines you can build, and then wrap it all up with a new game plan for you.
All right, first up, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. That frustrating sense that you're doing everything right. You're saving, you're investing, but the results just aren't there. It feels wrong. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a very good reason for that feeling.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. Compounding looks like magic. It's sold to us as this incredible, unstoppable force. But then, the real numbers show up, and the reality for most people, it's just math. And honestly, it's usually pretty disappointing math. Let's take a real-world example, a guy named Daniel. He did everything by the book. He's 26 years old, he gets on a tight budget, skips all the fancy coffees, and religiously saves $150 every single month. A whole decade goes by, he checks his account, and he sees $24,000. Now look, he didn't fail, not at all. He tried to build a giant snowball starting with a single tiny snowflake, and it just doesn't work that way. And that story perfectly sets up our next point. We're getting into the actual physics of growth here. And the big secret is this. It's not about your willpower. It's about weight. It's not about how long you can hang in there. It's about how much you're starting with. Here's the law of compounding that nobody talks about. It rewards weight, not willpower. Your discipline is great, but compounding rewards the sheer size of your capital way, way more. Think of it like this. The size of your money is the engine in your car. Time is just the road. And you can have a road that stretches on forever, but if you've only got a tiny little engine, you're just not going to get very far.
Okay, here's a great way to picture this. Imagine a big trampoline. Now you drop a single raindrop on it. What happens? Nothing. It just disappears. That's your small monthly contribution. Now, imagine you drop a bowling ball on that same trampoline. Whoom! The whole thing bends and springs back with a ton of force. That's a hefty lump sum deposit. See the difference? The raindrop gets absorbed, the bowling ball creates its own powerful momentum.
And if you're still not convinced, just look at the master himself, Warren Buffett. We all know he started investing when he was just a kid, right? Like 11 years old. But get this, a mind-blowing 99% of his entire fortune was earned after his 50th birthday. How is that possible? Well, that's when his capital base finally got big enough. It reached critical mass, and that's when the real explosion, the real compounding magic could actually kick in.
Let's bring it back down to earth. Say you save $100 a month, and you get a killer 10% return every year for 20 years. You know what you end up with? About $69,000. I mean, that's not nothing, but is it financial freedom? No. It's a decent used hatchback. And for most of us, that's just not the dream we were sold. And that right there is exactly why the wealthy play a completely different game. They get it. They understand the power of the bowling ball, not the raindrop. And they use that knowledge to get a massive, massive advantage. So what's the difference? Well, here it is in a nutshell. The common path, the one we're all taught, is to drip feed. You know, $50 every payday, and just hope and pray that a snowball starts to form over 40 long years. The wealthy path? They drop $50,000 all at once. They basically speedrun decades of growth. It's not luck, it's pure capital leverage. Here's another way to think about it. It's like planting a garden. You can plant a tiny little seedling and wait and wait and hope for the best. Or you can transplant a fully mature tree that's already got fruit on it. Both people are technically planting, right? But only one of them is going to be eating that fruit next season, while they're still young enough to climb the ladder and pick it. Okay, I get it. This might sound a little depressing, but don't worry, this is where we pivot. If the key is building that financial weight, that bowling ball, then the real question is, how do you actually do it? So now we're shifting from the problem to the solution. Let's talk about the 3 capital engines you can build to generate that critical mass. All right, these are your 3 tools, your toolkit for building weight. Number 1, skill stacking, because your knowledge actually compounds faster than money does. Number 2, system building. This is about creating assets that generate cash flow 24/7. And number 3, capital protection, because you have to guard your base. One big loss can set you back to square one. So let's dive into that first engine, skill stacking. Seriously, investing in yourself is the ultimate cheat code. A $500 course on negotiation or software design, that could literally double your income in a year. That's seed capital Wall Street can't even touch. And that extra income? That's not just for fun. That is the weight, the heavy lifting capital you need to get the real compounding engine started.
All right, engine number 2, system building. This is all about breaking that link between your time and your money. See, when your income is just based on the hours you work, it's capped. There's a hard ceiling. But when you build systems, things like an e-commerce business or even getting royalties from a book you wrote, your potential becomes scalable. These are the assets that work for you around the clock.
And that brings us to engine number 3. And it's a big one, capital protection. We've all heard Buffett's famous rule number 1, never lose money. But it's not just about being cautious. It's about understanding that every single dollar you lose is a worker you fired. It can't show up for its shift tomorrow. So guarding that base capital from fees, from inflation, from dumb risks, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
So, putting it all together, what does this mean for you? It means it's time for a new game plan. The old advice, start early, isn't wrong. It's just incomplete. The new mantra, the real secret is build heavy first, then start early.
So what does that look like in the real world? It means you focus on the things that build your capital base right now. Cultivate those high-income skills. Launch a little micro business that spits off cash. Negotiate your raises aggressively. And when you get a windfall, a bonus, a tax refund, whatever, it doesn't go to a vacation. It goes straight into your investment pile. Because remember, $1,000 today is worth so much more than $1,000 10 years from now.
And this all comes down to reframing the most important question. The question isn't how long is this going to take? The real question you should be asking yourself is how big can I go and how soon can I get there? Just asking that question shifts your entire mindset from being a passive waiter to an active builder. It puts you back in control.
Really, that's the bottom line. It's the big takeaway from all of this. The game was never just about time. It was always about size. The second your capital gets big enough to hit that critical mass, that's when growth stops crawling and starts sprinting. And that isn't magic. It's just physics.